A one, a two, a skiddly diddly do. Welcome to welcome to Chatcast with Will Cates.
And Austin Bagwell. I edit these podcasts, so I hear a lot of the things that I say over and over again. I was not expecting that. And I know that I say that a lot in this podcast.
That was a little SpongeBob moment there.
I think it sure was.
Before he gets the band going. Yeah.
I saw recently photorealistic images of SpongeBob and Patrick.
Yes.
And they are horrifying.
It's scary.
They
super scary.
Horrifying.
Although I really love when every once in a while it'll show a painting of SpongeBob and he's looking really like dorky.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
And I'll put them up on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But these are these are some of the dang.
It's both funny and scary too.
It's terrifying.
You know what's wild? Lord help us when SpongeBob loses copyright because they're going to make scary movies like they did with the recent Winnie the Pooh scary movie. I'm sure you've heard about that.
No,
Winnie the Pooh's out of copyright, so they made him. Oh my god!
Look at Patrick. Patrick is like he's a unit.
He looks like he's like a bouncer at a club.
Yeah, freaking. For real. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Scary. Winnie the Pooh.
It's called. I think it's called Pooh, Blood and Honey.
What?
Yeah, he's just a crazy killer or something like that.
I have to look this up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's called Winnie the Pooh, Blood. I think it's just called Pooh, Blood and Honey or something like that.
Winnie the Pooh. Excuse me.
Winnie the Pooh,
Blood and Honey.
Yeah.
It's a 2023 film.
Scary movie, and they're killers basically because they just like when Pride and Prejudice lost copyright, we got Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
Oh
and
yeah. Okay.
They did some other ones. But
this looks horrifying.
Oh yeah, I heard it was pretty bad.
Oh my gosh,
I loved Winnie the Pooh growing up, so I refused to watch it.
So Piglet is like I'm looking at a picture, a picture from the movie, and it looks like Piglet he's got like tusks.
Yes,
it almost looks like a man in a mask. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I don't know if the movie approaches it where they're actual like these monster animals, or if that's men dressed up like that. I don't know, but it's.
I'm not gonna look at this anymore. This is gross. It's creepy.
Welcome to the creepy pod.
The other tab that I have pulled up is a full playthrough of the game Shenmue.
Oh, okay. A full playthrough.
Have you ever played Shenmue?
I've heard of it, but
it's one of the worst games ever. And it's a meme. It's a meme to which that they made Shenmue 2, or maybe they were talking about making Shenmue 2. Shenmue, you're a Japanese teenager in 1980s Japan.
But that sounds cool.
And well, hang on, it gets worse. These dudes from China come over to Japan, kill your dad in a dojo, like in a fist fight, and then you go around doing odd jobs, trying to save money to then go to China
to get revenge.
But which sounds like a cool game, but it's so realistic that full in-game time is real time.
So if you were like working, trying to raise money to get to China, you may spend hours working in a coffee shop or something.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Doing just really dumb stuff.
There's only one game that I'll put that much time into, and that's RuneScape.
Oh, RuneScape. Oh,
and I will be AFK.
We've talked about RuneScape before, but I totally agree.
I can
that,
do that.
Or old Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Warcraft was my jam back in the day, man. Yeah. Like World of Warcraft was the best. I wish I had gotten into Knights of the Old Republic.
No,
I'm sorry, Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Star Wars. I wish I did too, but I only played the Knights of the Old Republic games.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I feel like there's too much of a meta in the game that if I dropped in like today,
I too much.
Wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't have enough time to devote to it. You know,
it is a bummer that there are types of games when you get to our age that just become almost impossible to play or to really play them.
Yeah, like RuneScape is one of those too.
One of those, yeah. I mean, I remember when it came out on about a year or two ago. They released it on iPhone. You can actually play old school RuneScape on your phone.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, I'll totally get back into it on my phone. But you know what's worse than spending, like at our age, spending hours and hours playing a game on a computer is to spend hours and hours and hours on your phone. But at the same time, I also had a period. I do enjoy some mobile games, like but I go in waves. And Jen,
yeah,
like Jen and I think we were talking about it recently because it's like you have you fall in and out of them, but console gaming, I can't. That's my favorite. I just can't get away from. I love to hold a controller. So
I do kind of wish I had a Nintendo Switch. I feel like I would have a lot of fun with that. Yeah. I sometimes at my full-time job, aside from owning a business, I work full-time repairing computers and stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes people recycle damaged devices, like devices that are it's not worth repairing because of the cost to repair versus replace. Yeah. It's just not there. And I had someone bring in a Nintendo Switch that had a bad motherboard but a good screen. And then like 6 months later, I had another person come in and give me one that had a bad screen but a good board. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll just swap them. Like I'll move one into the other. I've got a good screen and a good board.
Yeah.
And in the midst of doing that, I found out that the one that supposedly had a good board actually had tremendous amounts of water damage. And that's why, in the card reader. And that's why it wasn't working. Pretty common.
Really?
Most Switches are owned by kids.
Yeah, and they're gonna spill stuff.
Yeah, totally. And they don't want to tell mom and dad.
Yeah.
So when I had one guy bring his device in as his daughter's device, and wanted to have it fixed before Christmas as a Christmas gift. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. And I get in there, and there's so much corrosion on the board. He's like, but it still makes noise. It just won't display out. It's a bad screen. I said, it's not a bad screen. It's a bad video controller on the motherboard. I can't fix that. He goes, but it makes noise.
Man. Doesn't matter.
I understand that it makes noise. And then I
beeps
showed him.
And boops.
Yeah, right. I showed him. I actually showed him the board, like had it out, and there's corrosion all over it. He goes, "Oh," I said, "Yeah, she probably spilled something on it. Didn't want to tell you." I understand why you thought it was just a bad screen, but it's not. You know, the video controller on the board's dead. And that I love. It's always fun for me when people walk in and they think they know what's going on with it, and it's not. And when I tell them,
telling the guy who does this for a job,
I'll do the diagnostic. I've taken it apart. They didn't do that. They're just going based off what they see, which I can forgive.
Yeah.
But when I tell you what it is and what it isn't, you're like, no, but it's making noise. Like why did you bring? I've actually asked people this when they just want to fight me so hard. It's why did you bring this to me?
Yeah.
If you are just going to fight me on what it is.
What if you're like, oh my gosh, you're so right.
Yeah, right.
This isn't a big deal.
There's times, man, where I'm just like, and it's not the most professional. I'll admit.
Sometimes we need to break out.
But sometimes it's like, why are you here? Why are you asking me these questions if you're going to refute everything I say?
Yeah.
And so are you just trying to vindicate yourself, or you're just trying to pretend like you know? I
really want to know. To the hope that this is you're gonna walk out of here with something that isn't expensive.
And those people are few and far between, but they do happen. And boy, does it get old quick. It gets old fast.
Man, now I kind of want to play. There's something about playing handheld games, and I think mobile games tap into that feeling because I grew up playing a Game Boy, but like. Same. It's something cool about being on the couch and just playing a game on your phone or a tablet. And do you remember any that you enjoyed playing, like on your phone or tablet?
100%. On my phone especially, there's one that I've been playing recently. I've been playing it since 2018.
Cool.
But off and on. So like sometimes I'll realize I'm spending too much time on it, and I'm like, okay, I need to uninstall it. That is Dragon Ball Legends.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Legends. Great I remember hearing about that.
Love that game.
I need to try it. I was into those really silly. I don't even know if you would call them necessarily games. Well, yeah, that where you there was one I loved. It's where you drew the track for a guy on a sled.
Oh, interesting.
And that was so much fun because it's not really like a game.
Yeah.
But I just loved that you drew the course and he's just on a snow sled.
I did a lot of Angry Birds for a while. This is like 2012, 2014, something like that. I loved my Game Boy Color, man.
Gosh,
I will download emulators on my phone to play like Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah. 100%. Pokemon Yellow was where Pikachu would follow you.
Yes.
Which was really cool. Yeah. And now the today's Pokemon games all the Pokemon you see standing around you, and they're like walking around. That was not
really?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of cool.
They're 3D. That's what's really cool. I like that aspect too.
I'd like to try them.
I'd like to play them. I think my brother plays them. He really likes them, but
they're expensive.
That's the thing. I don't like a Nintendo Switch. Man, is like $200.
Yeah. And games are like $70.
I don't have time for that. I don't have the time or the money for that. Yeah, I got other stuff to do.
What's wild is they just drop in price over time.
Yeah.
So I'm never in a hurry really to get a game.
Yeah,
unless I just have the money and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it.
Yeah. But, it's either I play Pokemon or I've got 13 chicks outside.
Yeah.
So I'll just take the chicks.
Austin's a chick magnet. Had to do it.
My dad.
Did he say a joke like that?
No. Oh, okay. So when I was a kid, my dad had a motorcycle. He still has it, but he doesn't ride it anymore. So I would ride with him everywhere.
Cool.
And yeah.
I've only done that like once.
So I rode with him everywhere. I had a white helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And one day my dad and I walked out of, I think it was Walmart to the motorcycle. And there was a giant sticker that was just stuck to the back of my helmet that said chick magnet.
Oh, that's
And I was
great.
I immediately suspected him.
Yeah.
Immediately suspected him. I'm like, why'd you put this? I was like, I didn't do it. To this day, I believe and I know that my dad slapped that sticker on the back of that helmet.
You know he did.
Because it was one of those open face helmets. It wasn't a like full fledged. It was like just the head. Yeah. So my face is sticking out. I mean, I was a kid.
Wait, did it have a chin or was it just the?
Okay, it had a chin strap.
Okay, but it was just the.
Yeah, exactly. So
which are not nearly as cool as a.
Yeah. But also, I was a kid, so I'm this tiny little kid with this giant helmet on.
On kids.
Huge helmet, and I'm just stuck to the back of the helmet. It's a sticker that says "chick magnet."
So that's a dad move. He totally 100%.
He tried so hard to convince me it wasn't him. I know it was you.
Busted.
Yeah, I know you watch. So
I loved dirt bikes growing up.
I never got into them. I wish I had.
Oh, you would enjoy it. Well, I could only name one time I was on a motorcycle, the back of an actual motorcycle, and it wasn't even a main road. It was a back road, and a guy took me up the road and back. But that was like it. Dirt bikes though, my brother raced a motocross, so he was. I think I might have mentioned that in the past, but dirt bikes are fun, man. I haven't been on one in so long, but I have this urge lately to just gun it across a field full speed. I also want to learn how to ride a horse. Really
I want to. Those are two very different things.
Yeah. I also want to learn to roller skate.
I'd like a 4-wheeler.
Wait, 4-wheeler?
Mm-hmm.
You had a 4-wheeler?
No, I've never had one.
I'd like to get one. Yeah, that'd be cool.
I'd like to have a 4-wheeler. Yeah. I don't have anywhere to ride it aside from like out here in my neighborhood, but I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you could probably get a 4-wheeler and then just like there's got to be spots around here to go.
Oh sure, yeah.
You would get a trailer or something.
Yeah, well, there's the Crotan's right across from us. I could drive it back there, but. The problem is, one, storing it somewhere.
Yeah.
Two, how often would I ride it? Would it just be like for me? I'm very functional, and for me to justify,
especially a new dad,
it is for sure. Yeah, absolutely. For me to justify a purchase, it has to have a function, and I mean beyond just one-time use. I do have things that I've bought that are fun.
But I mean, but something that's going to be fun that you got to plan every once in a while.
Yes, yeah, there's a purpose behind it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was always a little nervous when I rode 4-wheelers because I felt like turning them, I was going to flip them.
So I've ridden them and I've driven them before, and it is odd because I've driven motorcycles and I've driven 4-wheelers. And driving motorcycle, you lean into the turn, and
did that make you
counter steer? On a 4-wheeler, you're just turning the handlebars,
which is weird,
which is totally different.
Yeah,
totally different. So that definitely was odd.
Did you feel more comfortable? So you've never ridden at all?
Ridden what?
Dirt bike?
No, never.
Okay,
ridden a dirt bike.
I got you.
I'm talking about like a road motorcycle.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I don't think I could. I've thought about like. Me being on like an actual motorcycle on some backcountry road, but I don't think it's going to be me. I think I'm too nervous to go all in on a motorcycle.
I went through a phase right after I got out of the Army. This is 2011, where I was only wearing plain white t-shirts.
Oh yeah.
I was only wearing bootcut jeans.
So you were Logan.
Boots.
You were Wolverine for a while.
Yeah, not nearly as cool though. No, I was watching a lot of Sons of Anarchy. That's
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I was so cliched. But I was wearing cowboy boots and bootcut jeans and plain white t-shirt and riding a motorcycle. Yeah, that was my thing.
That's cool though.
I
think there's
I did it for a summer and I was kind of over it pretty quick.
I think there's some stuff that's always going to be cool. And I think white t-shirt, jeans, boots, and motorcycles, those will always be cool.
It's just kind of like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like if somebody rode past me in that way, I'd be like, oh, cool.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can look at someone like that and be like, geek.
Yeah, right? Like, nerd. Get out of here, idiot.
I love the hand signal that bikers do.
Oh, we all wave to each other?
Down.
Yeah,
I love
so
that.
I accidentally waved to a dude on a moped, and I was so mad about it because he was on one of those mopeds where we're from. We're used to seeing them. Yeah. Like in Durham and Raleigh. We don't see them out here. It was one of those larger mopeds where from the front, if you glance, it looks like a motorcycle, like a road bike.
Yeah.
But it was a moped. And as I was getting closer, he already had his hand out. So I'm driving and kind of half paying attention. So I put my hand out and I looked over, I saw it, and I immediately snatched it back. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I snatched it back like, gross.
Ooh,
like
that stayed with him probably.
I hope so. You don't wave to me. You don't wave to me on that moped. Jerk. And then when I started driving a Jeep, there's a thing called the Jeep wave. And as you're driving, you see another Jeep. It has to be a Wrangler.
There's a Jeep wave?
Yeah, dude. Wrangler to Wrangler? Absolutely.
Ooh,
it's called a Jeep wave.
Wrangler.
And you give I would give the 3. Like I wouldn't
like, is it this?
You're not
like
doing
a
this.
W?
No. You're not like doing this. Like you're driving, you see another one, just
3 fingers.
Yeah, you just pick them up off the steering wheel and hey, I acknowledge you.
That's cool.
What's annoying is that you get these like super rich mall crawlers. Like they're not actually going off-roading in this Jeep. I actually took mine on trails. Yeah. You get these dudes and chicks that are in these mall crawlers and they don't know the etiquette. And you give them the wave and they don't wave back. And I'm like, you have enough money to drive an $80,000 Jeep, which is way too expensive, by the way. Yeah. And you haven't taken it off-road once, you can't wave back. Like, know what you're getting into. Yeah. But it also I really like these little niche communities that most people don't know exist,
Oh yeah, it is neat, but to feel like you belong in this like club. Yeah. And that sort of is something that I've never really had much of, was that sense of being in a club or a group of. Really? Now I have developed it late the past few years when it comes to movies, because like I have online I was quite proud of myself. I put together a group of people who all love movies. Nice. We don't know each other. It's like a Twitter group. Sure. But we literally every day will just chat about movies. And I was like, dang, that's really cool to have like someone to, like, I never did message boards growing up. A lot of people do that online. Yeah. I never did that.
But there is something to say about having that in person.
Oh, I wish I could sort of have. And yeah. And we kind of do.
It's not to say that it's not through lack of effort. It's just people are online all the time these days.
They're online. And if you try to, like, it's a lot to ask people, every week, all of us are going to meet at this spot, with a group of people. Yeah. Like, it's really cool, like, with the life group. Like, that's what that was. And I hadn't had something like that in probably since I was a kid, because as a kid you have those church groups. But it's hard with movies because you bring up movies to people, and the term average moviegoer, that's a real thing.
100%,
100% a real thing. Totally. Because they'll tell you, they're like, what was the last movie I saw? And I mean that's awesome and fine, but like I sometimes forget that I am. Not everyone is watching a movie a day.
Beyond that, and that's impressive, by the way. Beyond that, it's having an eye to know what to look for beyond just directly what's in front of you. Because there's times where I'll go back and watch a movie that I really enjoy, and I'll notice something in the background. Or like an Easter egg or a clue or something like that I've completely missed. That I wouldn't have seen unless I rewatched it. Yeah. And cool. Or if you like go on YouTube and watch a movie breakdown and they point it out and you're like, dang, I need to go back and watch that. I need to see that again. Like every time I watch Lord of the Rings, like the original trilogy,
Great
I see
example.
something new every single time.
Yeah. That's the beauty of those. They're so rich in detail.
Yeah.
To the smallest thing. Speaking of, did you see how they did? You remember those shots in Lord of the Rings where it's really up close on the ring
Mm-hmm.
and it's super detailed. Have you seen how they did that?
No.
They had a ring this big.
Oh, like a big one.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And they made it look like it was a tiny little ring. And those close-up shots where it looks really detailed.
It's of a giant ring.
It's of a giant ring.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I like those practical, easy.
Yeah.
I almost say easy. The practical, simple methods.
Yeah.
Like with the forced perspective with Frodo and Gandalf.
Yes.
They just had a really oddly shaped table.
Yeah.
That would put one in the foreground and one in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is when you see this table, when you're watching the movie, they look like they're facing each other,
normal.
like head on talking. But in reality, Frodo is actually like 2 feet to the left of Gandalf, but they're just looking at the same direction.
How wild is that?
And it looks like they're facing each other.
And it also
it's really interesting.
It's a testament to their acting too.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah,
I don't even know of an example of the forced perspective thing other than Lord of the Rings and Elf. In the beginning of Elf, where he's this giant.
Was that forced perspective, or was that CGI?
That's how they did it.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I listened to a podcast with Jon Favreau, and he was talking about how they were doing things practical with the size thing.
I like that.
Also, Will Ferrell's huge anyway.
He is. He's a very big person. There was I was gonna look up. What was I gonna look up? Yeah, I'll remember it in a minute. But there was a podcast that I would listen to. And now that I think about it, I haven't listened to it since probably about 2019 when I lived in Wilmington. Mm-hmm. But it was a guy who would do like breakdowns of movies, and one of them was The Exorcist.
Whoa, yeah.
And giving like behind the scenes stories and backstage stories.
That movie and Passion of the Christ have some crazy background stories of what went down when filming it.
Yeah, 100%. And one of the ones I remember from The Exorcist was where the actress who was playing
Linda Blair.
Thank you, Linda Blair. When she was strapped to a table.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be, I don't remember the scene off the top of my head, but she was supposed to be like freaking out.
Yeah.
Basically being violent and freaking out while strapped to this table. In reality, she was actually in a lot of pain because something was digging into her back and wrists. Like she was hurting like the back of her neck, I think it was. It was making her bleed. And she was in actual pain.
And she just went with it.
No. She was actually screaming out in pain to be released. But the director thought it was because that's what her lines were, like, let me off this table, let me go, that kind of thing. That's what her character was supposed to be doing, but she was doing it in real life because she was in so much pain.
Oh, that's scary.
And they didn't know until somebody kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
But
that's wild.
Yeah, stuff like that is. I'm always interested to hear stuff like that, hear stories like that.
There's a Django Unchained.
Yeah.
You don't give yourself enough credit. You've seen and know a lot about movies. I think that's a side note.
Okay, sure.
I'm just saying,
not as much as you think, but
I
watch a lot of YouTube.
Appreciate it though, which I love.
Absolutely. Yeah. I appreciate the art.
Oh yeah, I'm just giving you a shout out.
No, I appreciate that. You called me cool in the last podcast.
Yes, and
I've been riding that high for like 2 weeks.
I think we all need to do that. We need to just shower each other with love and praise.
Yeah, all absolutely.
Right. So, Django Unchained.
Yes.
There's a scene where he is at the table and Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's getting very angry. And he slams his hand on the table.
Yeah,
you heard about that?
I do know this.
And he cut his hand.
He
for
actually
real.
cut his hand. Yeah.
And what I want to know is, because if this is this is what I haven't learned yet. But right after that, he rubs his hand on that lady's face and gets the blood on her face. I wonder if that was his real blood.
I don't know.
That I hope was
why
not
would
his
anybody?
real blood.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody got upset, it's Leonardo DiCaprio's blood. I mean,
true that.
Dude's famous. Did you ever see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So when Leonardo DiCaprio is playing with that flamethrower, and he's like, it's hot, it's too hot.
Anything we can do about it?
Yeah. That wasn't a line.
That was an improv line.
That wasn't an improv. That was his actual reaction to the flamethrower.
The guy
but
says,
Quentin Tarantino was like, Oh, that's great. I'm just gonna leave that in.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's just that's his actual reaction to firing a flamethrower.
There was a guy behind him, and he said, "Anything we can do about that heat?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, it's a flamethrower."
Yeah.
That's really good.
You know,
that's really good
for someone like me. It's like, again, being very practical. It is a flamethrower.
Imagine
it's going to be hot.
That's wild.
For you to turn around and go, can we do anything about that heat?
It's
a flamethrower.
But that was a celebrity
exactly.
thing to say.
That's my point.
That was so.
How out of touch can you be? It's a flamethrower.
That's amazing. And the fact that he said it, when he said it, he had that accent.
Yeah.
But knowing him, he just was in character. And
not only that, he had the wherewithal to turn towards the camera to ask it.
Yeah, that's true too.
He didn't turn away from the camera when he asked it.
Think of what's wild is I saw, and I'm sure a lot of people saw it this way, but because the trailer didn't give it away. But I went into that with no clue that Tarantino would end it the way he did. Talk about an ending.
Yeah, I've actually never seen the movie.
Ooh, you're in for a treat. I came so close. That's why I didn't say it.
No, you're good.
But I can say, if there's to everyone
I've seen clips of it.
Tarantino isn't for everyone because it is very violent.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's several things in all of his movies that will upset people. Yeah. But I can say that if I were to recommend one movie to people who are not or never really watched his movies, or to people that I feel like wouldn't be into his movies, it's probably Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because it's not a whole lot of it's not a whole lot of the bloody violence. I mean, there's some, but also like when it comes to like language as well as just overall like roughness, it's pretty tame compared to the other ones. But dude, man, I just love other time periods, and I know you do too. You appreciate like, history and stuff, but I love a movie that takes place in a time and you see all the different fashion and the cars and stuff.
Oh yeah, totally. We kind of briefly talked about it last podcast, The Northman.
Yeah. Viking stuff.
Yeah. So love that aesthetic. I would never want to live in that time period.
No, but you can.
But I really enjoy movies set in that time, or TV shows set in that time period for sure.
Yeah. All the furs and just like
everything perpetually looks wet and dirty.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks kind of wet and dirty.
But
oh no.
All the scenery is just gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's always beautiful. Yeah. Man. That kind of thought process that you were bringing up about, the different fashion and stuff like that. I saw a post recently on Instagram where a woman had put on a dress that was more akin to something that maybe like women would wear in the 1920s or something like that.
Oh, well, was it kind of was it kind of like a thin, silky, or was it flowy, or was it
not necessarily silky? It was definitely thin, and it was tailored. It was fitted.
Yeah.
But it was modest, but also classy at the same time.
Would wear a hat.
She wore a matching. She wore a matching hat with it, and it was white. And she just walked down a city sidewalk, and somebody behind her was obviously filming it. And what they were catching were men and women's reaction to her dressed this way. And there was a lot of positive reactions to it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it really just reinforces my want to just wear a 3-piece suit all the time, everywhere I go.
You did that sometimes at your job. When you went to court, you would dress up nice and you'd have your briefcase and everything. That's something that, myself included, a lot of guys have no really experience with other than prom and a wedding.
That's fair. Yeah.
It's prom, wedding, funerals. And then otherwise you never put on a suit, really.
I wore one before I met my wife. I went on a date once, and I was actually in Durham, downtown Durham.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and I was wearing a 3-piece suit, and I had left my credit card. So we went from one bar to another. I left my credit card at the first, so I had to go back. It's like a block away. It wasn't far. And so I dropped I left my jacket with the person I was with at the second bar. I was wearing a vest, what was called a waistcoat.
Yeah.
I was wearing a vest and the pants and everything.
Black and white?
No, it was gray.
Ooh,
so the suit itself was gray, white shirt, black tie. And so I'm walking down the sidewalk, and there's 3 or 4 people walking the opposite direction towards me. And one of the guys in this group of people just kind of goes, "Bro, you're looking dapper, man." And I was like, "Hey, thanks." And
he
they just
hit you
kept walking.
With the dapper?
Yeah. And I kept walking too, and I was like, "That felt good."
Dapper
yeah,
Dan.
thanks, man. Thanks for saying that, bro. But
love
yeah,
that.
that was.
That's too cool.
That's the thing. Like we've got a friend of ours, Browning Sanderson, and he and I talk all the time about just we need to start just wearing 3-piece suits to church. He's a very good looking man.
Yeah.
Dresses very well.
Yeah. Shout out.
Yeah, shout out Brown.
We're just gonna compliment. We're gonna have an episode where it's nothing but shout out compliments. You for this, you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been honestly my whole life. It's been skate and surfing, casual, comfortable clothing. My whole life.
You surf? Do you actually surf? Or are you just like wear the fashion?
Mostly just when it comes to surfing, just where I always have skateboarded, but surfing, I would just love the fashion, the Billabongs and the Quicksilvers and stuff. But I did surf as a kid, but it was more struggling to surf.
Sure, yeah.
I was not good at it.
Was it out here?
Well, I just had trouble getting out there.
Oh, okay.
I would wear myself out paddling. I never was comfortable on the board. Paddling. And you like 80% of surfing is paddling.
Just paddling wherever you're going. Yeah.
And it would just wear me out. And so I was definitely a boogie man. I
boogie board
all day.
Yeah,
skimboarding I'm good at.
I never tried it.
It's very cool. You will fall. Like there's no way to learn to skimboard without busting your butt.
I only see kids and young teenagers skimboarding out here where we live. Like I never see adults doing it ever. No.
And if you do catch an adult, like, hey, I'm gonna give it a try, they're gonna fall.
Oh, sure.
Guaranteed. Sure. And anyway, skimboarding I'm very good at, or at least.
Do you want to describe what skimboarding is for those who don't know?
Yeah. So a lot of people probody don't skim.
Yeah, right. What is that? Skim milk?
I was just about to say you're gonna get some milk, but skimboarding is so when you're on the beach and you see waves coming onto shore, they crash onto the shore and then they kind of thin out and get real shallow to where it's like this much water, and then it recedes and goes back into the ocean. When the water is like really thin, you basically get this flat board. It looks like the shape of a
like a leaf.
Like a leaf. Yeah. That's exactly the shape of it. You get a run and start and drop it on the ground and jump on it, and you just literally skim on top of that thin layer of water on the sand. And what's incredible is it takes hardly no water to do it.
Yeah.
But what's fun is what I like to do is I drag my fingers in the sand, which causes me to spin.
Oh, cool.
Which is a fun trick to do.
Sweet.
And if you really want to do something fun is just skimboard straight at a wave. And that's a lot of fun too.
I've seen some kids do that a couple of years ago out of the beach where they were skimboarding directly at a wave just to launch themselves over the wave into the water. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Yeah. I've never been super comfortable in the water personally. Like even now as an adult, I can swim, but
now this
is just not super water. Comfortable. Yeah, pretty much.
Even pools and stuff.
Yeah.
Now, was it comfortable as in you're in it and you're like, I don't really get it, I'm just not having fun, or was it you felt fear of it?
No, it's definitely a life or death thing.
Oh, okay,
if I stop paying attention for too long, I will drown kind of thing.
Isn't that kind of strange how we play in water at the beach, at the pool, but at a water park, but literally if you just stop, you're just going to die.
Yeah, like...
what other things are like that where you stop doing it?
You just stop right in the middle of it, you die? I don't know. That's a very good point, actually.
I don't know if maybe if you're driving and you just stop driving, but I'm...
that's fair, too. You're going 45, like driving, I'm done.
I'm done with this.
And just got to see where you go. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. I've just never been super comfortable with it. Funny enough, my dad, after I enlisted in the Army, my dad asked me, he's like, why didn't you join the Navy? It's like, you never taught me how to swim. And I know that they teach you how to swim in training if you don't know how, but I feel like that's not the time that you need to learn.
Yeah,
true that. You should already know how to do it.
True that. A lot of that whole, like, just toss your kid in the pool. It may seem cruel, but it's kind of some truth in it. Because if you just sort of, I mean, I was just put in a pool and put in the ocean, and now I love it.
You figured it out.
And I just, I mean, I had those big arm floaties.
When I was learning to become a paratrooper, part of what they teach you is how to quote unquote water land or land in water. Basically, if you're under a canopy, so you've jumped out of the plane, your canopy's deployed, your parachute's deployed, and you start to drift over a body of water, there's a sequence of events that you have to do. That way you don't drown. Whoa. Because you're strapped into this giant parachute. Oh my gosh!
And if that with wraps all these around lines, you in the water,
exactly. Oh, yeah. So there is a specific way to land. That way you don't land in your parachute in the water. And basically, it involves you if you're ever over water, you are going through the sequence of events of essentially unclipping yourself from the parachute, like you're taking it off in the air.
So that way.
So what you do is you've got a chest strap. Okay, you've got a chest strap, and then you got 2 leg straps that go right along your groin.
Like if you're rock climbing.
Right, yeah, exactly. Spot, yeah. The only thing that's holding you to the parachute are the 2 leg straps. That's it. You've got shoulder straps and then this chest strap, but that's just to keep the shoulder straps up and down. They're not actually holding you. It's not holding you to the parachute. Just the leg straps are.
I never thought about that.
So what you do is, as you're coming in over water, and you have to make this decision. You have to make this decision very quickly. You unhook. You take those leg straps, and as you're floating down, you pull them down as far as you can down your leg, and you kind of make a seat out of the harness. Then you unhook the chest strap, hold the shoulder straps, and as you're coming over the water, you reach down and unhook the leg straps, and then you slip out of it. You put your arms up and you slip out of it just into the water.
You would be, at that point, you would be like, how high above the water you'd say?
It's up to you. You just got to figure it out. Like, because you're not wearing an altimeter. And typically when you're jumping, at least with the 82nd, you're jumping from 800 feet. It's not high. It's not very high when it comes to jumping out of an airplane.
You're making this decision fast.
You have no time to do this.
Honestly, I don't see how if you land and surrounded by your canopy and the strings and everything in the water, I don't see how you get out of that.
So the class before us, a young female paratrooper had drowned because that happened. Yeah. There was a small body of water right next to the DZ, the drop zone, and she went into that. And there's a duty boat out there specifically to help people in those situations, but they couldn't get to her in time. She immediately got wrapped up in the risers and the lines and drowned. Man. So that was I
mean, would you say pulling a knife off of you and trying
You're not carrying a knife.
Oh, okay.
You're not carrying one.
Wow.
That was something back in the day that World War II. Yeah, it's just not something that we do.
But you know what's strange is you would think a knife would always be common.
You would think, but unless they issue it to you and you're allowed to wear it, you don't.
Did you ever see anyone with a knife?
No.
That's wild to me. That's wild.
Even while I was deployed. Even while I was deployed, no knife.
Wow.
You're never going to use a knife in the military for fighting ever. That's not what it's for.
Yeah.
It's for
utility.
Digging a hole or cutting a loose string or cutting a strap. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
But unless they tell you can, you can't.
And every time you see it in a movie, it's like a knife, Bowie, big old.
It's a giant fighting knife, and it's not. In fact, I've got one. Hang on.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. See, I would think that would be on you at all times.
So this is a SOG. I think it's called a Seal Pup.
That's sweet.
Field knife, or no, it's a SOG field knife, and this is the knife that I keep on my.
Dude, I love.
This is a battle belt.
I've worn. Isn't there another word for that? Like I didn't know that was what it's called.
So my battle belt, just kind of get it on camera here.
Mm-hmm.
My battle belt, on this I have my knife. I've got a dump pouch on the back. This is a first aid kit right here. You can tell by the red strap on top. Whoa. An extra rifle mag and just a ham radio.
Now that is an antenna.
Yeah, it is. This is the reason I've got my knife on my belt is I'm always wearing my belt.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know if the camera behind me, I don't know if the camera can see this. Can you see that?
You can see the top of it. Okay. So you'd raise anything up a little bit and they'll see it.
Okay. I'll leave it where it's at. It's kind of heavy. I've got my armor, my plate carrier behind me here. And the reason my knife isn't on that is because I might not always wear that.
Yeah.
If that gets uncomfortable and I'm in a safe area, I might drop that.
That stays
on. But my knife is always on my belt, right? Same thing with my first aid kit.
Okay.
That's always on my belt. Like, it's always on me. So no matter where I'm at, I've got my first aid kit.
Yeah.
Same thing with my radio. Well, yeah, same thing with my radio. If I'm wearing the plate kit, I'll put the radio in the plate kit. That's what it's for.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like the only time I would carry a knife is for utility.
Wow.
Like, I wouldn't use it for. You're not going to use it for fighting. You're not fighting with a knife.
I'm confident that if you asked pretty much anyone, tell me what you think a soldier carries, they'd be like, okay, gun, first aid kit, knife.
Yeah, right.
Really big Bowie knife.
Yeah, it's such a misconception because, again, people watch too many movies or they play too many video games. If it ever gets to the point where I'm trying to fight for my life with a knife, I have failed in so many other ways.
There's also that scene in Saving Private Ryan. So a lot of so that also probably would solidify that thought of, again, last resort is a knife.
Yeah, urban fighting is not
like it
fun. Well, it's just not fun. Period. Yeah. Like when you hear about stories in World War II or even now in Ukraine where they're occupying different parts of the same building for days. Yeah, that's a real thing. And that urban fighting, man, it's not fun. It's not fun. You get tired very quickly because even if you're just driving through, you're trying to watch every window and every corner and every car. There's no way. There's no way.
For centuries and centuries, like thousands of years, wars would take place, and they'd have these vast areas where you'd have open air, and you would not feel claustrophobic. I mean, I know that there was, of course, wars that would work their way into cities.
Yeah, of course.
But like for the most part, I feel like they would do battles on battlegrounds, like what they would just happen out in the,
because that was the tactics of the day. That's what worked.
The thought of being cramped.
It's interesting when people talk about like the early outset of firearms, and people are like, "Oh, I would just hide behind a tree. Why didn't they hide behind a tree?" Because firearms weren't that accurate. Yeah. That's why they all lined up.
Yeah,
and like these back in the day. Those generals and kings and leaders of armies,
it's crazy.
Well, you're not wrong. Like, I can't imagine that kind of battle.
Facing it down,
but they were the experts of their time in warfare. And it's not that they didn't have these thoughts; it's just they knew it wouldn't work. Yeah. So they line up, 40 abreast and walk in a straight line towards the enemy, and that's what you did.
It is true that they'd shoot and then walk closer?
It depends on what the time frame is. So there was a tactic called fire in advance. Okay. And basically what would happen was, let's say you've got 3 ranks of guys. Okay, they're 20 per rank, so you got 60 men. So 20 in the front, 20 in the middle, 20 in the back. Yeah, yeah. And what'll happen is the front line will fire, take a knee, and it depends army to army, country to country. I'm explaining it from I think the British used this really late. While still using, like in the 1800s or so. Yeah. But they would fire. So the front line fires. They'll take a knee. Second line will advance through them. They'll fire. And while they're firing, the first line's reloading.
So that's
third line comes up in between them. They fire. And then they just keep advancing. Yes. Yeah. It's called fire in advance.
That sounds better than...
But it's a very technical thing. So in the military, and frankly, I've moved this over into everyday life. The fewer moving parts, the better. The more complicated something gets, the more likely it's going to break down. Yeah. So when it comes to like planning anything, planning my day, planning a trip, planning work, whatever it is, the fewer moving parts, the better. Because again, when it gets more complicated, you have more points of failure. And for something like fire in advance, that is such a complicated task. Only your most professional militaries are going to accomplish something like that.
That's wild. I didn't know about that. That you're still facing guys.
You're facing,
shooting at you. But
that's why I like going down to Fort Macon every now and again.
Me too.
It's so cool to go down there and just kind of, you read the plaques along the way and how everything worked and all that. And you just have to understand the bravery and just the audacity of the military of the day, the times. So
I recommend anyone just go to the closest fort or battleground and spend some time, because it is wild.
Take in the history, that's one of the things when I'm out in those places. I really just want to absorb the atmosphere.
Yeah.
What was it like for those men to be here? You know, what did they experience? What were their thought processes? The Red Badge of Courage is a great book. It's an American classic. I've got a copy. I've got a copy over there. Okay. It's from 1925. My copy. Nice. But the book came out right after the Civil War, and it has a wonderful description of a young man's first combat action, and even today it holds up. Man. Like, just what's interesting to me is a lot of the thought processes that young man went through, the main character, are a lot of the same thought processes that I had. The exact same. I mean, line for line. Like, I remember thinking that.
Wow.
It's intense.
That makes me think of the game has nothing really to do with this, but the Fallout games.
Oh, sure, yeah.
The very, like, it's more of a survival post-apocalyptic game, but every game starts with that quote, war never changes, and it's like a cool cut scene.
Yeah.
And it gives me like goosebumps because like it's kind of, there's elements that are just, you know, that's how it was with all wars. But
yeah, war doesn't change. It's just the way that we fight them.
Yes, that's it right there, bro.
The similarity in all of them is how brutal it is.
My dad loves the Civil War, reading about it, and I really want to take him to Virginia to the Gettysburg.
Yeah. Dude, I'd love to go see Gettysburg. I've got a book.
So you haven't been
there. No.
Wow.
I've got a book somewhere over there that belonged to my grandfather, and it is a illustrated. It's a illustrated history of the Civil War.
Whoa!
So it's got like photos and drawings from the Civil War, and it basically is just a history book about it.
That's incredible.
It's really cool. It's really cool.
That's my kind of book. Pictures.
Seriously, it's a giant book, but I really like it. I really like that book. It's so cool.
The coffee table books are honestly like my favorite type of book.
You know,
I love a coffee table.
I've looked
big old ones.
Yeah, I've got a couple, but they're not on my coffee table because one, no one would ever open it and look at it.
That's funny because that's true. Mine are on my coffee table. Well, I've gotten a good amount of them now, but also it's like. It's so strange. They're supposed to be for people to just look through when they're hanging out in your house. Like thumb through,
yeah.
But when I'm at someone's house and there's books on the table, I'm like, oh, I better not touch them.
That's the thing. That's exactly right. I remember I went over to a friend of ours, and she's a widow now. She's older. She's in her 80s, and she's got a book on her coffee table, or she did. That was like the history of her family.
That's awesome.
I've seen it almost every time I've gone over there. And I've wanted to look through it, but just didn't because it's like, it's weird. I'm picking up her book and looking through it, but that's what it's there for.
It brings me back to the shrimp.
Earlier
tonight. Earlier, I mean, you know, we ate shrimp.
Yeah.
And you said, and there were like a good probably, like 12 or 13, 14 shrimp still in there.
Yeah.
And it was, maybe more, but anyway.
I don't know if it was that many, but I was like.
It was a good amount.
Man, so I had my plate. Austin had her plate, and you were making yours, and I was looking at it, and I'm like, just go ahead and take what's left. You know, just because there's not that many left, just take what's left.
Incapable.
Couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
Because it felt, I'm like, oh, that would be rude. You just told me.
I just told you to do it. Yeah. I know what you're talking about, though. I know what you mean. And it's like.
I think our mamas and dads just drilled it in. Like,
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And what's sad is when we do that, we think we're being considerate. But when you stop and think about it, we're actually denying somebody a gift, a blessing. It's like, I'm trying to be a gracious host, and I want to give you what's left.
And I'm not giving you that satisfaction.
Right.
And that comes back to like at the end of the night at a gathering of friends, and someone brought some egg salad. And that at the end of the night, hardly no one wants it. Yeah. And you feel like, oh man, no one wanted my egg salad. But I bet you multiple people got a little bit out of it and were like, I'd love to scoop more, but I
want to save some. Yeah, totally.
Everyone's
I totally
so
get it.
considerate.
Yeah.
Quit being so considerate.
Yeah, be a little more selfish, everyone.
We have moments in each episode where like do the opposite of what.
Yeah. I think one of the earlier episodes I told people not to shoot at other people from their cars. I'm pretty sure that was the second episode.
Yeah, we should. Oh, I got to do a highlight reel of all of these little looks at the camera. That's all.
Where I look at the camera and tell people to do stuff.
Yeah, there's going to be an advice reel for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be really good. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But really though, it's at a certain point it gets ridiculous when everyone's trying to be. If you're trying to be so considerate and worry so much about what everyone else feels, you lose a little bit of the. I don't know.
You know who some of the most considerate people are that we both know?
Yeah,
the Sandersons.
They're amazing. I love them.
They the last time we were there, they made. I think Browning made like smoked pork butts, like smoked them in his smoker and they were giant. There's two of them.
Yeah.
They didn't even give you an option. They just went ahead and made these to-go containers. It's almost as big as my keyboard. Actually, it's probably about that big.
God, they're
cool. And gave everyone. It was full to the brim.
Yeah.
Just pork. Here you go.
Amazing.
Eat it. Like, thanks, man.
That's the way to do it.
Didn't even ask.
That's the way to do it.
Here you go. You're taking this home.
If you want people to eat your food,
you
pre-package it.
Impose upon. Yeah, you impose your will. Impose your will on other people and give them food.
Tina, eat your food.
I saw a clip. Oh, dude, I saw a clip recently. When was the last time you saw Napoleon? Like watch Napoleon Dynamite?
It's gotta be close to 10 years.
Same. Okay. Do you remember the portion of the movie where Napoleon's trying to earn money? So he goes to a chicken farmer's.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's looking at the. Yeah.
They're all standing out there. It's the chicken farmer, the kid, and Napoleon. They all have a hard-boiled egg.
Yes.
They're just standing in a triangle
quietly.
Eating an egg. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So at one point, the old farmer just looks over just randomly and points and goes. He's rambling. You can barely understand him. I found a couple of Shoshone arrowheads in that creek over there.
And he's while eating.
Yeah, while he's eating. That wasn't even an improvised line. He didn't know the cameras were rolling. That's just him talking randomly.
That's so good.
And the director was like, "Well, we're keeping that in."
So
He was like, yeah, that's just him. He just does that.
And he's got a mouthful of that.
He's got a mouthful of egg and he's just pointing over at a creek bed.
I remember that scene.
Yeah.
And it's so funny and real. And in the moment, when watching it, you would think that was intentional.
Yeah.
That's
cool.
I
need to watch that movie again. I actually got to the point where I hated it.
Well, it blew up pop culture wise.
Yeah, it had a cult following.
Cult following. Yes, you're right. People would quote it a lot.
Yeah.
It's funny. Some movies can make that full transition to where it can annoy you.
Oh, 100%.
And what's strange is Anchorman did a really good job of never really getting annoying. It still kind of stayed funny for years and years.
It 100%
even when
did,
people quoted it, it wasn't,
40% of the time, it works every time.
I'll be honest, that smells like pure gasoline.
What a great line, though. 40% of the time, it works every time.
And then he says, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what a great movie! I remember being on a patrol in Iraq in the middle of a field, quoting The Hangover.
Yeah.
With my sergeant, we're just walking through this field, blazing hot, quoting The Hangover movie.
Yeah, I could probably think of only like 4 or 5 comedy movies that had that level of impact where anyone you brought it up with guys
knew exactly what you're talking about.
Especially guys would just laugh their butt off.
Like Rob Riggle, he's like, in the face!
Yeah.
In the face! He's getting tased in the face. Yeah, it's the best. It's so good. When Zach Galifianakis is like, he's like stink eyeing that fat kid.
Oh yeah.
And then he like levels out the taser right in his face. But Zach is still like, he can take it.
Yeah.
And he gets shot in the face.
And he's still holding it.
Yeah.
That was so good. And
everybody starts screaming because he's not going down. Oh, it's so great.
Gosh. Another one that I love is Dumb and Dumber. I was quoting it the other day. There's a part, one of my favorite lines. I was talking to someone today online about it. It was they're driving down the road and a police officer is trying to pull them over. So this guy on this police bike, he pulls up next to him because he can't get him to pull over.
Yeah.
He's like, pull over. And then he goes like, no, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing.
That's so good.
It's so good.
I love lines like that, man.
That's real writing right
there.
Yeah,
I I really don't know if I have a specific kind of humor. I really like deadpan a lot.
Yeah.
Because I you know what's interesting, and maybe it's just my personality, but I don't find myself laughing out loud.
Yeah.
At a lot of things anymore. It takes a lot. In our conversations I do a lot because I really enjoy them. But like if I'm watching a movie or I'm watching TV or listening to a podcast, I don't find myself laughing out loud that often.
I don't either, man. And there was one point where I got worried. I was like, why are things
like, do I just not care?
Yeah, I was actually there. In all seriousness, not just when watching things. I was there was not too long ago. I was like, things are it's really hard to make me laugh.
Yeah.
And what else is strange is I'm making other people laugh.
Yep.
But I myself
rarely laugh.
Yeah. And then I started thinking, wow, is this like common with like funny people, comedians, they themselves, is that why you hear about comedians having these rough sort of like lives because they can dish out the comedy, but nothing really tickles them? It's weird. But at the same time, like I'll be hanging with Jen, or hanging with you. Yeah. And then they come back and I'm like, okay, I'm still okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, absolutely. But I've been on a big Theo Von kick recently.
He's so good.
That dude's so funny, bro. Like,
what's great about Theo Von is he's a real guy. Like
or at least his character is like, if he's putting on a show, man, like if you got one-on-one with him and it's like, I'm not actually like
then
that.
I'd be very impressed.
You are impressive.
Yeah, you have taken a character.
I'm not even mad.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be mad either. I'd be so impressed. But he feels like someone you bumped into at a party.
Yeah,
down in the South somewhere, and he's so 100% him too.
Yeah,
like and he's also got stories, and I think comedy, it's so reliant on stories. If you can just bust out like I knew a guy that.
Not only that, if you're a good storyteller, like not too much detail, but enough detail for people to be invested. Mm-hmm. What gets me is those ones where you can tell are fake.
Oh yeah.
I know this didn't happen, bro.
Yeah. He's like, I gotta work though. I gotta make up.
Yeah, I get it. Just be better so I can tell. It out.
Yeah. Dude, I feel like with comedians, it was Theo Von. What's some more really good ones? I really love Jim Gaffigan. It's been a while since I've listened to him.
Yeah.
But when he first came on the scene, I loved his brutal honesty when it came to self-deprecating. Is it how you say it right?
Sure. Yeah.
Deprecate. I said it right.
Yeah.
All right. I want to say
self-deprecation.
Yes. Is that how you say it?
I would say self-deprecating.
Self-deprecating. Yeah. Yes. He talks about food and eating and sleeping and in a way that's really funny. Because I mean, we all, but then I feel like I could not. We spoke about it last episode. I am so comfortable on this podcast talking with y'all, and I'll stand in front of a big group and act like a goon, just so silly and make jokes and make everyone laugh. But you put me on a stage or at a podium and I just clam up. I'm just like,
Do you think that's because you feel like there's an expectation of what you're supposed to do? Or?
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Yes. When we're all at the same level, I feel like
it's a conversation.
It's comfortable.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily feel that same way, but maybe it comes from having to talk to total strangers in previous jobs and stuff like that. For me, it's very easy for me to ramble. Like if I don't have bullet points, I'll get off on a tangent or get off topic pretty quickly.
Doing that.
Yeah, we should think about that.
Look.
You keep leaning. There you go.
It's been a while since I've done that.
You got to keep leaning. Yeah, that's a long lean. You're about to break that chair. Yeah, no, I don't know if I have that same issue.
It's becoming an issue. I've been breaking a lot of chairs. In all seriousness, there's a video on TikTok if you hunt it down of me breaking a beach chair. and me not only breaking it, but insistent on fixing it. And I get frustrated and I'm trying to open and close this broken beach chair. And my brother's wife, Emily, filmed it. And I didn't know she was filming me struggling with this broken beach chair, and put the Jackass song to it. Don't like,
you're gonna have to screen record it and send it to me, and maybe I can drop it in the podcast.
Ooh, we should totally do that. Yes, I can do that. So that here,
that'd be really funny.
We're gonna watch it. So let's take it over to the video.
I wasn't expecting that at all. I'm leaving all this in.
Oh yeah.
I'm leaving all this. So awkward. I want the audience to be as like feel as awkward as I do right now. That was awesome.
I think that's our goal in this, is to
really I don't know if that's my goal, but boy, does it happen.
Not let me be clear. A goal of making them feel like they're right here in the room with us, chatting.
It got so quiet too. Like I want to replace. So we have had a lot of criticism. I'm not going to say constructive criticism,
but
we've had a lot of criticism from a specific individual about using the word like.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
Or I'm surprised people haven't brought up my ums and uhs.
I want to drop the word like and just enter in.
Do you think we could do the rest of
silence?
What if
well, no, because we're close to the end of the episode. But
really?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do that moving forward. I'm just going to drop in silence
instead of like
for the word like, and just roll with it.
Well, can we do it for the rest of this episode?
Yeah, I mean, it's only going to be
starting now. We can't say like at all.
It's only going to be for
that's okay.
A couple minutes.
You know what's going to happen?
There's also...
okay. Oh, I got it. I see what you just did.
I didn't get it.
I did now. So no likes and no ums. And you know what's going to be the result? We're going to sound way smarter than we are. It's going to sound like
it's actually going to be good criticism.
Wow. Listening to fans actually helps.
I suppose it's, it's one of those things.
But...
Now I feel like you don't have anything to talk about.
What if the key to our success, this whole pod, is those likes and
yeah, I suppose, man. I don't know.
It's a fun challenge, though.
Whoa. I gotta quit touching stuff.
That's the biggest laugh from me, was that.
I gotta quit touching this thing. All right, that's gotta be the end of the episode. I know that makes no sense, but that was, I'm not gonna beat that. I need to become Carrot Top and just do like, oh, I said like, crap. I gotta be Carrot Top and just slapstick, props.
I love that tickles me the most. That's what makes me laugh.
It was wholly unexpected.
The equivalent of something you see.
What's something going on? What's wrong, Will? What are you talking about? What's going on? What's going on? You okay? All right. I know this isn't any fun for the audio listener, so we're gonna end it there. Super awkward. I actually really, really enjoy how awkward this is.
It's so nice.
So
I'll live in awkwardness.
Yeah, we're gonna call it there.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you watching.
Yeah.
I hope this didn't scare anyone away. Because frankly, this is just for fun. We're just
having a silly goose time.
We're just two dudes chit-chatting about literally nothing.
Yeah, chatting about nothing. And sometimes we're going to talk about something, and sometimes we're going to talk about.
We really went off the reservation here at the end, though. So,
but it was
a good conversation up until the microphone thing. But anyway, what?
Said dude.
Well, you said us and likes.
I did
say So technically,
I guess this is like the end.
I guess. All right.
Like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate it.
See you later.